Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Astrology of Scholars. Today, we're exploring Leo rising. And if this is your rising sign, you're about to understand why you need to be the center of attention, why you can't help but put on a show, and why rejection feels like death. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and need everyone to notice you? That's Leo rising. Let's dive into this royal dramatic energy. So, Leo rising. Your approach to life is notice me. Recognize my importance. I am royalty. When Leo is rising at the moment of birth, this person's approach to life is warm, encouraging, generous, and commanding. When they integrate these qualities healthily with other elements in their birth chart, you see a healthy Leo rising picture in the face they show to the outer world. Leo, ruled by the sun, being in the Ascendant, which is the natural house of Aries, makes the person quite self-centered. Here's what this looks like. You're at a casual gathering. Everyone's chatting in small groups, but you can't just blend in. You need to tell the best story, make everyone laugh, be the one everyone's looking at. It's not that you're deliberately showing off. You genuinely don't know how to be anywhere without shining. The spotlight isn't optional for you, it's oxygen. The life of a person born with Leo rising is full of experiences where they will discover who they are, through which they will learn to identify their desires in life, pursue their desires, and present themselves as they truly are on stage. Through these experiences, they develop their personality. When a person doesn't have much business with other people, this can be somewhat easy. However, for a sign like Leo that wants to attract attention, expects applause and approval from outside, and wants to fill their surroundings with admirers, putting themselves out there as they are without caring too much about others is risky. In the end, not being liked, being humiliated, having their pride hurt is at stake. The Leo, who doesn't show themselves as they are out of this fear, tries to attract attention this time with colorful clothes and shows. Let me give you a real example. You're terrified of being ordinary, of being invisible, so you don't just wear clothes, you wear costumes. You don't just have opinions, you perform them dramatically. You don't just live your life, you stage it. Every Instagram post is carefully curated. Every story you tell is embellished for maximum impact. You're not lying exactly. You're just making sure people are impressed. Because if they're not impressed, if they don't applaud, you feel like you're dying inside. They approach life almost with the air of a king or queen. They may think that the most important person in the world is themselves, that the most important work is their own work, and that the most important problem is their own problem. While dealing with personal matters, as if blinded by their own sun, they may become unable to see those around them and what's happening. They only look at other people to see their admiration. Here's what this looks like. Your friend is going through a crisis. They just lost their job. They need support. You sit down to listen, but within 5 minutes, you're somehow talking about your career struggles, your victories, your drama. Your friend needed you to show up for them, but you couldn't help making it about you. It's not that you don't care, you genuinely do, but you're so blinded by your own sun that you can't see anyone else clearly. What Leo rising needs to do is realize that other people are at least as important as themselves, become a person whose inside matches their outside, and show themselves as they are. Their inner world is full of rich creativity waiting to come out. Only when they do this do the qualities of their sign, such as leadership, management, and organization, begin to appear healthily, and they enjoy life. Otherwise, despite appearing very confident on the outside, inside, they can be like an insecure child. Let me show you what healthy Leo rising looks like. Think of a teacher who lights up the classroom. They're charismatic, they command attention, they make learning exciting. But they use that power to elevate their students, not just to feed their own ego. They shine, yes, but they use their light to help others grow. That's Leo rising using their gifts wisely. They're still the star, but they're lifting everyone else up with them. In a birth chart, when the rising sign is Leo, 4 fixed signs are found at the 4 corners of the chart. We can liken this to a heavy table sitting on 4 solid and thick legs. When something suddenly comes from above, it cannot easily escape to the side and all 4 legs break. In other words, someone whose rising sign is one of the fixed signs has difficulty adapting to life's changing conditions and making necessary changes. They resist change stubbornly to the very end. This means changes can come down on them like a sledgehammer. In other words, facing destruction is likely. Therefore, it's beneficial to learn not to resist so much and to be a bit flexible when necessary. Here's a painful example. You've built your whole identity around being the successful one. You've told everyone about your achievements, your plans, your inevitable rise to greatness. Then something fails. A project crashes. A relationship ends. You don't get the promotion. For most people, this would be disappointing. For you, it's an identity crisis. You can't be flexible, can't pivot, can't admit the setback because you've made yourself so rigid in this image of success that any crack might shatter the whole thing. Your positive traits are generosity, leadership, sincerity, liveliness, enthusiasm. You light up rooms, you inspire people, you make life more exciting just by being in it. But your negative traits, you can be dramatic, proud, a gambler, showy. You see everything as a game. You're childish, susceptible to flattery, thoughtlessly risk-taking. You need constant praise or you feel worthless. You'd rather be spectacular and fail than be modest and succeed. Now, let me give you 3 practical tips if you're Leo rising. Tip number 1, practice being in a room without performing. This week, go somewhere and don't try to be the most interesting person there. Don't tell your best stories. Don't make the funniest jokes. Just be present. Listen more than you talk. Notice how the world doesn't end when you're not the star. You're still valuable even when you're not shining. Tip number 2, share the spotlight. When you accomplish something, resist the urge to make it all about you. Acknowledge everyone who helped. When someone else succeeds, celebrate them genuinely without making it a competition or immediately talking about your own achievements. Real kings elevate their court. Tip number 3, build real confidence, not just the performance of it. Your outer confidence is often masking inner insecurity. Do things that genuinely build self-worth. Not for applause, not for Instagram, not for anyone's approval. Create something just for yourself. Help someone anonymously. Build confidence that doesn't need an audience. Your lesson, Leo rising, is to shine without needing constant validation, to be generous without expecting worship in return, to be authentic instead of just impressive, to understand that you don't need to be the sun. You already are the sun. You just need to stop worrying about whether everyone's looking at you. So if you're Leo rising, I want to hear from you. What's the hardest part about not being the center of attention? Have you learned to share the spotlight? How do you deal with criticism or rejection? Share in the comments. And if this made you feel seen, and I know it did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more rising sign deep dives. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.